Okay, RxD. I've got your NC HIT and NCX workouts for Tuesday the 14th. Pretty short and sweet. Both about the same time, same amount in duration, and both require something that you guys hate, which is consistency. So we're going to be working on that. Let's go over our NC HIT workout. So it's a 15-minute AMRAP. First thing we're going to do is 60 double unders. If you don't happen to have a rope, I'm not going to give you the bounding option today. It's going to be 1 minute of mountain climbers. The second thing you're going to do is 15 sumo deadlift high pulls with your backpack or dumbbells with whatever you got. And then you have 15 hang power cleans, again, with your backpack or your dumbbells, whatever you have around, maybe a kid, hopefully not. And then last thing is 15 sit-ups. So sizable amount of reps within each set, and a pretty good amount of time in order to get it done. So we're just trying to see how many times can we run through that within the 15 minutes. Hopefully a good amount. We're really aiming to keep each set unbroken. If we can't do that, then I would recommend breaking them up no more than 2 times. I'll say it again, but we just need some consistency. You should probably be moving at a conversational pace. Obviously not something like this, but to where you can still kind of talk to somebody and you're not completely dying. I'd even put on a show and just watch my show and work out. So that's the kind of thing that we're doing today. So let's go over the standards. The double unders, if you have them, you have them. Let's talk about that mountain climber for those of you guys that may not have access to a rope or just don't feel like doing double unders anymore. So that mountain climber, I want to see how well can you guys move from your hips, meaning I do this physical cue all the time. I kind of put my fingers right here on my hip flexors and my obliques, because this is going to control how well I can kind of raise my leg and move from the hip. I'm thinking about squeezing my abs, my lower abs, as well as my hip flexor whenever I do this, versus just kind of throwing my leg up in the air. So I want to get into my push-up plank position, hands right underneath my shoulders. You can have them whichever way you want, pushing my scaps and mid-back towards the ceiling. And with these, remember it's a minute of mountain climbers, so I don't want to be just running through these. I need to have a consistent pace. So it's probably going to look something like this. I know it looks slow, but think about, I have to do that for a whole minute, so it's probably going to be at that pace. If you guys can go faster, awesome. Let's try not to go slower than that though, to where you're having a very deliberate pause in each position. So that's our mountain climber. I want you guys to have your knees to the inside versus the outside of the arm, and just making sure that I can maintain that plank position throughout the whole thing. The next thing is that sumo deadlift high pull, something that we've seen over the past few days. I want to see that sumo stance, so feet just outside of our normal squat stance, slightly pointed out toes. I'm going to sit my hips back and down. Notice I'm still pretty upright. I'm going to grab onto my dumbbells, probably in a neutral grip or a 45, touch one head to the ground. I'm going to push the ground away, keep my shoulders nice and low until I get this pop from my hips, and then from there I can raise my elbows towards the ceiling as much as I can. I want to focus on not trying to do this as I pull up. So I really want to lead from the traps as well as the rear delt. So I'll do a few. I want you guys to notice how violently I'm really trying to lock my knees and lock my hips. That's how the weight is going to travel upwards. My arms are simply just attached. They didn't really feel too much work going on, and we want to keep it that way. The next thing is that hang power clean. I'm going to change these for you guys. Rather than doing from the inside, let's try from the outside today. Remember, it's not like a barbell movement because they're not fixed, so I can move them pretty freely. I'm going to have my feet in my jumping stance, which is probably going to be pretty close. Dumbbells just to the outside. I'm going to allow myself to dip. If anything, I can let those dumbbells come back just slightly behind my body. That way this is a little bit more like a swing versus a straight up and down movement. And I'm going to kind of act in the same way. Push into the ground, lock my knees hard, lock my hips hard, and then travel into that same shrug, except now I can kind of do that curl. And then end up in my front rack as well as that slight power position. Please do your best to make them feel and look the same every time, and not a muscle clean. So when I come back down, use that same swing that I've generated on the way down to go back up again. If I took the dumbbells away, it would just look like I'm jumping, and that's perfect. That's exactly what we want. Our last thing is a sit up. You guys can choose to anchor your feet or do a butterfly stance, have them all the way out, whatever is most comfortable for you. I want to see in the sit up, remember, versus a crunch, I'm going to keep my whole torso as straight as possible for as long as possible, and think about moving from the hip versus from the upper back. So I'm basically doing a hinge, but lying on the ground. So it can be in my butterfly, feet straight out. I like it like this. I'm going to just reach behind me a little bit, allow my arms to throw myself up, and try and stay as straight up as possible. I can touch my legs or I can touch my feet if I can. I'm going to make my way back. When I make my way back, do your best not to crane. You're going to tuck and flatten yourself out. And that is our sit-up. Seems pretty remedial, I know, but some stuff always needs work. So I want to see how well can you guys make it through this consistently. Let's see, somewhere between 5 and 7 rounds, maybe even more, depending on how well you can keep your consistent pace. So this is our NC HIIT workout for Tuesday.